Many people collapse under pressure when life tests them. They allow anxiety, fear, and the voices of others to steer their decisions. But here's the reality: mental strength is not something that simply appears at birth. It is built, shaped, and forged through effort. People with unshakable minds don't run from difficulty. They teach themselves to remain calm under fire, to stay clear-headed when everything seems chaotic, and to keep moving forward with resolve. Imagine entering any space and people sense your confidence before you speak. That is what happens when your inner world is steady. You no longer overreact. You no longer lose control at every small challenge. You walk with quiet authority that others can feel. In a moment, I will explain exactly how to train your mind to reach that level, the kind of strength that earns respect, silences doubt, and makes anyone think twice before trying to break you down. Because once your mental foundation is unshakable, nothing outside of you can hold you back. Your brain needs exercise just as much as your body. Life is relentless. Every day throws distractions, noise, and endless demands in your path. Many people hustle from morning until night and still feel like they are standing in the same place, spinning in circles. The truth is, the greatest struggle is rarely the world outside. It is the mind inside. A mind left without discipline becomes restless, like a wild animal running aimlessly. The strongest choice you can make is to train it daily. Think about it carefully. Every visionary, every revolutionary, every leader who left their mark on history started with a single thought. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, endured wars and betrayal, yet stayed composed because he practiced training his mind every day through reflection and philosophy. Leonardo da Vinci spent hours studying, observing, questioning, and imagining, building his mental world until it became a fountain of innovation. None of these figures stumbled into greatness. They carved it through deliberate effort. They understood a simple truth: the mind is like a muscle, and if it is not exercised, it weakens. Daily mental training builds personal power. It gives you clarity when everyone else is lost in confusion. It helps you keep advancing when others stop. A strong mind transforms problems into opportunities and failures into lessons. When you master your thoughts, you master your behavior, and when you master your behavior, you take control of your entire life. Imagine a young student paralyzed by exam anxiety. Instead of drowning in panic, he chooses to train his mind. Each morning, he spends a few minutes repeating to himself, "I am calm, I am focused, I am capable." He reads from books of wisdom to expand his thinking and practices solving problems repeatedly until they feel easy. Slowly, the fear that used to choke him begins to dissolve. When exam day arrives, he no longer panics. His mind listens to him. He proves to himself that a trained brain is more powerful than fear. How do you build this strength? Start with small habits. Give yourself moments of silence every day to think. Fill your mind with meaningful knowledge. Biographies, philosophy, inspiring stories of great individuals. Push yourself to learn something new, even if it feels challenging. Practice self-command by refusing to let negative thoughts take control. When they arise, replace them with words that strengthen you. This is the forge in which a strong mind is made. Just as a blacksmith strikes metal repeatedly until it becomes a perfect sword, you must shape your mind every single day. No great warrior went to battle without preparation, and no great thinker reached mastery by accident. They all trained. You too can rise if you decide that fear, doubt, and laziness will no longer dictate your choices. Train your mind daily, and you will discover a source of inner power that cannot be stolen. You will face storms and remain calm. You will go where others hesitate to go. And one day, when you look back, you will see that the most important battle you won was not against the world, but against yourself. Your mind is your kingdom. Rule it, and life will open its gates before you. Every day, invisible wars are happening in people's minds. These battles are not fought with swords or guns, but with thoughts. Fear whispers, "You cannot succeed." Doubt says, "You are not worthy." Laziness insists, "Do it later." These small thoughts may seem harmless, but left unchecked, they shape a life and keep a person from becoming who they were meant to be. The truth is that people are rarely defeated by the world outside. Most defeat comes from surrendering to their own weak thoughts. Weak thoughts are like shadows, always present, always waiting to cover the light. But here is the key. Shadows disappear when you stand in the fire of self-mastery. To rise to your full potential, you must learn to command your mind instead of obeying its weakest impulses. History is filled with people who prove this truth. Alexander the Great created one of the largest empires the world has ever seen before he turned 30. His greatest victory was not over enemy soldiers, but over fear and hesitation. When he led his men across deserts and mountains, he conquered not only armies, but also their doubts. By ruling over fear, he carried them to glory. Helen Keller, born unable to hear or see, faced a world that appeared hopeless. Yet she refused to bow to despair. Through unshakable determination, she transformed her mind into a blazing torch. She learned to communicate, inspire, and prove to the world that no obstacle is greater than a disciplined spirit. Picture a young writer with a dream. Every evening he sits down to work, but his mind whispers, "You are wasting your time." Another thought says, "No one cares about your words. If he obeys those voices, he will quit, and his dream will wither. But if he sees them for what they are, weak thoughts, and chooses to write anyway, one page at a time, reminding himself of his purpose, he will grow stronger. One day he will finish his book, and what once felt impossible will be reality." The first step to mastering weak thoughts is awareness. Notice when fear, doubt, or laziness shows up and refuse to accept them as truth. Challenge them. Replace them with empowering words. Speak to yourself as a commander speaks to an army. Firm, encouraging, determined. Strengthen your mind with noble ideas, with learning, with reflection. Practice small victories. Wake up early when you want to stay in bed. Keep working when you feel like giving up. Every time you overcome a weak thought, you build mental strength, like a warrior gaining skill after every fight. The person who rules over weak thoughts no longer lives as a slave to moods or temptations. He becomes steady and unshakable, able to walk through storms and transform trials into triumphs. Weak thoughts will always knock at your door. You decide whether to open it. Rule your mind, and your mind will make you powerful. Fear is something we all know intimately. It creeps into the chest before a challenge. It speaks before an important choice. It grows louder when the future feels uncertain. It tells the student, "What if you fail?" It warns the worker, "You might not be good enough." It surrounds dreamers with a fog of hesitation. And because of fear, many never begin, many quit halfway, and many bury their dreams before they are born. But fear is not the enemy. Fear is energy. Fear is raw fire. And when you learn to control that fire, it becomes strength. The difference between those who live ordinary lives and those who achieve greatness is not that the great have no fear. It is that they know how to turn fear into fuel. Think of a soldier marching into battle. His heart pounds, his breath grows short. That fear could freeze him, but he uses it instead. It sharpens his senses, makes him faster, more focused, more alive. His fear becomes a weapon in his hand. Picture a young woman who wants to speak on stage. Every time she steps forward, fear takes over. Her hands shake, her voice trembles. Her mind tells her to run away. But one day she stops resisting it. She says to herself, "This is not weakness, this is power." She takes a deep breath and begins speaking. Her voice shakes at first, but soon fear turns into passion, and her words hit with fire. The audience is moved, not because she had no fear, but because she turned fear into her strength. So how do you transform fear into power? First, see fear clearly. It is not a chain, it is a signal. It means something matters. It means you are about to grow. Instead of running, lean into it. Tell yourself, "This is energy. I will use it." Take small steps into the things that scare you, whether it is speaking, leading, or daring to dream bigger. Every time you face fear, you collect strength. Soon, what once terrified you becomes the very thing that makes you powerful. The person who learns this walks differently. Where others retreat, he advances. Where others see danger, he sees opportunity. Where others are ruled by fear, he rules over fear. Fear will never completely vanish, but you always have a choice. Let it crush you or let it fuel you. Turn fear into your engine, and no obstacle will be too large, no dream too distant. Fear is not your downfall. It is the first spark that ignites your strength. Build a mind so resilient that nothing can breach it. Existence is filled with storms that come uninvited, pulling people into days where defeat, rejection, and uncertainty wait for them. A careless remark from someone can cut deeper than a knife. A single failed attempt can crush confidence if left unguarded. Even the smallest seed of fear can grow into a choking vine of weakness if allowed to root in the mind. Too many walk through life with no defenses, letting every negative word, every disappointment, and every inner doubt march straight into their thoughts. A mind left unprotected becomes vulnerable, easily overtaken by despair. That is why it is necessary to create an unbreakable mental fortress. Such a fortress is not meant to keep out love, wisdom, or growth. Instead, it shields you from thoughts and forces that would break your spirit. Once you have built it, you can stay calm even in chaos, stand firm through storms, and remain unshaken even when the world presses hard against you. Picture a young athlete chasing his dream with relentless energy. People laugh at him, telling him he is too small, too weak, too late to ever make it. His mind starts echoing their words, letting their poison spread, but then he makes a choice. Every morning he repeats to himself, "My strength grows daily, and my spirit cannot be broken." When the world mocks, he refuses to let those words pass through his mental gates. He keeps training, keeps pushing, and one day he wins. Not just the competition, but the war inside himself. No insult, no doubt, no failure could get through the fortress he built. You can do the same. Start by being watchful. Notice which thoughts empower you and which thoughts drain you. Keep the strong ones and let the weak ones fall outside your walls. Build habits that strengthen your mind, moments of stillness, words of courage, rituals of discipline. Most importantly, decide that no insult, no failure, no outside force can dictate the state of your inner world. Every day, you lay another stone until your walls are high and impossible to breach. The world is noisy, wild, full of struggle. You cannot silence every storm, but you can choose what you allow into your mind. Build this inner fortress, and you will find freedom greater than any treasure, power greater than any army. Even when physical walls crumble, the walls of the mind, built with patience, courage, and truth, can endure for a lifetime. Guard your thoughts, strengthen your spirit, and rise beyond the chaos. Build a mind no force can penetrate, and you will walk through life untouchable, carrying a strength no one can destroy. Inside every person lies a kingdom, and that kingdom is their mind. Yet most people act as if they are prisoners in their own kingdom. Fear tugs them one way, anger pulls them another, doubt pushes them somewhere else, and temptation drags them off course. Their thoughts are scattered, and because their thoughts are scattered, their lives are scattered as well. A single insult is enough to ruin their entire day. A small setback can crush their confidence completely. They live in chains, not because the world has locked them up, but because they never learned to take command of their own mind. But there is another path. To live fully, one must become the master of the mind. This does not mean silencing all emotions or becoming heartless. It means deciding what enters, what remains, and what deserves action. A well-trained mind is like a clear river, peaceful on the surface, unstoppable in its flow. When you learn to guide your thoughts, nothing outside can shake you. History's great thinkers and warriors all knew this secret. The Buddha said, "The mind is everything, what you think is what you become." Miyamoto Musashi, the undefeated swordsman, trained not just his blade but his thinking, warning his students never to let their minds become clouded. Their victories were not lucky. They were built on mastery over their inner world. Think of a young woman about to step on stage for a life-changing performance. As the moment approaches, fear floods her mind. What if I forget? What if I fail? Each thought crashes down on her like waves. If she obeys those thoughts, she will fail before she even begins. Instead, she takes control. She closes her eyes, breathes deeply, and commands her mind, "I am calm, I am ready." She directs her focus toward her preparation, not her fears. When the moment comes, she performs with grace and strength. Her mind obeys her, not the other way around. This is what it means to rule your mind completely. You can start by watching your thoughts like a guard watches the gates of a castle. When a destructive thought tries to slip in, stop it. Replace it with a thought that gives strength. Train yourself with small daily acts of discipline. Get up when you want to stay down. Speak calmly when anger rises. Take action when laziness whispers in your ear. Each act of control is another stone in the foundation of your mental kingdom. The rewards are beyond measure. A controlled mind cannot be broken by insults, cannot be shaken by storms, cannot be enslaved by fear. It allows you to see clearly, choose wisely, and walk steadily toward your chosen destiny. While others are tossed around by every passing emotion, you will be like a mountain, immovable, steady, rooted deep in strength. When you control your mind, you control your future. All power begins as a thought, and whoever commands their thoughts commands their life. Guard your mind as the most valuable thing you own. Train it, guide it, master it, and you will find that nothing in this world can stand in your way. Life will test you over and over. One day you feel unstoppable, the next you are knocked flat. People you trusted may doubt you, your plans may collapse, and even your own thoughts may rise up against you. Most who give up do not do so because life was too heavy, but because their minds could no longer carry them. The worst prison is not built with iron bars, but with fear, hesitation, and self-doubt. This is why the greatest power a person can build is a mind that cannot be stopped. Your body can grow tired, your road can grow difficult, but if your mind refuses to break, you can outlast anything. Being unstoppable does not mean you will never fall. It means nothing has the power to make you stay down. Picture a young man with a dream to become a doctor. His family struggles, his resources are few, and life tells him at every turn that he will never make it. He fails his first exam, and doubt whispers, maybe this is not your path, but he refuses to surrender. He decides, I will keep going. He studies harder, works longer, and strengthens his mind each time failure tries to bend him. Years later, he becomes the doctor everyone once said he could never be. His mind carried him through every obstacle. To become unstoppable, start with small tests. When you feel tired, keep going just a little longer. When fear shows up, face it rather than running from it. Each time you choose to keep moving forward, your mind grows stronger. When thoughts tell you, I cannot, answer back with, I will. Learn to treat failure as a teacher rather than a dead end. Over time, your mind becomes like forged steel, able to bend but never break. The world does not give victory to those who stop at the first difficulty. It rewards those who persist. The person with an unbreakable mind cannot be defeated because defeat requires surrender, and surrender is not an option for them. When others quit at the first challenge, the unstoppable push ahead, carving a way through where no path existed. Remember this: storms will always blow, failures will always come, doubt will always whisper, but if your mind stays unshaken, you will outlast them all. Become mentally unstoppable, and the world itself will seem to open before you. No obstacle will stand too tall, no challenge will be too great, no dream too distant. The person who cannot be stopped is the person who cannot be conquered. The world pulls your attention in 1,000 directions every single day. Demands pile up, distractions surround you, and your thoughts scatter like leaves in the wind. You begin tasks, but leave them unfinished. You carry dreams, but never give them the full focus they require to come alive. This is the silent struggle of modern life. Many have energy, many have ideas, but few possess the quality that transforms effort into greatness: focus. Focus is the ability to lock your mind on one purpose, like an arrow aimed at its target. But ordinary focus is fragile and breaks under pressure. What you must create is focus so strong it feels like iron, steady, sharp, and unshakable. With such focus, your mind becomes a weapon that nothing can stand against. History is filled with proof of this. Nikola Tesla could concentrate so intensely that he built machines entirely in his imagination before ever touching them. Ancient warriors trained not only their bodies but their minds, knowing that a moment of distraction in battle could mean death. Their triumphs came not from scattered attention, but from a mind that held its aim like a hawk watching its prey. Imagine a young student preparing for a critical exam. Distractions surround him. Friends calling, games tempting, thoughts drifting. At first, he gives in and his results are poor, but then he chooses to train his focus. He sets aside 1 hour every day where nothing else exists but his studies. Each time his mind wanders, he pulls it back. Little by little, his attention grows sharper, like a muscle strengthened by resistance. By the time the exam comes, he is not only ready with knowledge, but carries a mind that is steady and unshaken. Once there was a student who used to falter at every step, unsure of himself, distracted by every noise of the world. Today, that same student moves with a steady presence, walking with certainty, not because life became easier, but because he forged within himself an unshakable focus. This power is not a gift handed to him by fate, but a skill he patiently crafted day by day. Anyone can do the same. It begins with the smallest acts of discipline. Whatever task you are doing in this very moment, let it have your entire mind. If you read, let reading become your world. If you walk, let your steps be conscious, your breath steady. Each small act of deliberate attention forges a little more strength into your mind, much like a blacksmith hammering iron into a blade. Make time for silence as if it were nourishment. In that stillness, the noise of scattered thoughts fades and your inner clarity begins to grow. This calm is not weakness. It is the sharpening of your mental edge. And when a goal takes hold of you, give yourself to it completely. Align every decision, every action, every heartbeat toward that end. This is the way to transform your mind into an instrument so precise and so unwavering that distraction loses its grip on you. You stop wasting precious energy on things that do not serve your mission. You stop surrendering to doubt and hesitation. Instead, your thoughts gather into a single beam, cutting through confusion like a sword through mist. A person with this kind of focus seems to bend reality itself because they do not look away from what they have decided must be done. The truth is that greatness is never an accident. It is built by those who learn to hold their mind steady like steel, who refuse to scatter their energy, who remain unbroken under pressure. Build such focus, and you will find within yourself a strength you did not know was there, a strength that moves mountains and withstands storms. Set your mind like flint, sharpen your determination, and refuse to allow anything to break your concentration. Whoever can command their attention commands their future. Life is not soft and gentle. Every sunrise brings new struggles, hidden tests, sudden betrayals, and disappointments that seem to come from nowhere. A person may start their day with good intentions and still find themselves crushed by failure before nightfall. Far too often, people retreat when they are hurt. They lay down their weapons before they have even fought. They forget that the greatest battlefield is not the world outside, but the mind within. That is why you must build the spirit of a fighter. A true warrior does not flee from storms. He stands before them, ready, sharpening his will instead of running for cover. His strength is not only in muscle, but in mind, where resolve, discipline, and courage form an invisible armor. When you adopt this mindset, you tap into a force inside you that no one can take away. Picture a young woman who longs to be a voice for her community. At first she is quiet, ignored, and even mocked. Her own mind whispers to her that she is too small, too weak, too inexperienced. But she refuses to let that voice decide her fate. Each morning she wakes before the sun and works on her body, her mind, her character. She strengthens her body through effort, her mind through reflection, and her heart through acts of courage. Whenever fear rises, she meets it with bold action. Whenever doubt appears, she persists a little longer. Day by day, her presence becomes steady, her voice becomes clear, and people begin to follow her. What changed was not the world around her, but the person she became by forging her thoughts into the mind of a warrior. How does one shape such a mind? The first step is to train yourself to act with intention, not just when you feel inspired, but especially when you do not. A warrior does not wait for perfect conditions. He does what must be done, whether he feels like it or not. Learn to face difficulty without hesitation. The second step is to welcome struggle instead of running from it. Where most see pain and inconvenience, the warrior sees training and preparation. Every failure is a sharpening stone, every obstacle a weight that builds strength. The final step is to protect your thoughts. Weak thoughts are invisible enemies waiting for a chance to rule you. When they appear, do not let them linger. Replace them with words that remind you of your strength. This training does not transform you overnight. It shapes you slowly until you no longer fear challenges, but meet them like an old companion. You stop wishing for an easy life and start embracing a life of strength. And when this transformation is complete, you become someone who cannot be easily broken. You do not depend on luck, comfort, or outside approval because you carry your own fire, and even in the darkest moments, it will not go out. But to truly reach your highest potential, you must go beyond even this. Every person carries chains you cannot see. These chains are not forged of metal, but of thought. They are the quiet voices that say you cannot go further, that you are not good enough, that you have already reached your limit. These invisible walls are more dangerous than real ones because they stop you without ever touching you. They appear in daily life, in the student who stops aiming high because he believes he is not smart enough, in the worker who settles for a smaller life because she believes big dreams are for other people, in the athlete who stops training the moment exhaustion appears. Time after time, people quit not because the road ends, but because their mind convinces them it has. But these limits are illusions, and illusions can be broken. When you step beyond them, you unlock a strength you never imagined you had. You begin to realize you are far more capable than you ever believed. Imagine a young man running his first marathon. At mile 15, his body screams to stop. His breath is heavy, his muscles ache, and his mind shouts that he has reached the end of his ability. But then he remembers why he began, to prove to himself that he is capable of more. So he takes one more step, then another, and slowly he discovers that his true limit was not physical but mental. When he finally crosses the finish line, he has done more than complete a race. He has destroyed the walls inside his mind that once held him captive. To shatter these limits, you must first recognize them for what they are, lies built out of fear and habit. The next time you hear yourself say, "I cannot," challenge that voice. Ask whether it is a real barrier or only hesitation. Then do the thing anyway. Push yourself a little further than yesterday. When you think you can only focus for 1 hour, stay with it for 2. When you think you can lift only a certain weight, add just a little more. Each act of defiance chips away at the mental cage you have built. Persistence is essential because these limits will return again and again, but every time you push past them, they grow weaker. With enough consistency, they fall completely. Soon the impossible becomes normal, and the things that once terrified you no longer hold power. Life begins to open up because nothing can trap a mind that refuses to believe it is trapped. Remember always that the walls in your mind are illusions. The moment you fight back, they begin to crumble. The greatest victories you will ever know are not over enemies, rivals, or mountains, but over the limits you once believed unbreakable. Step forward even when fear grips you. Persist even when every part of you wants to quit. When you destroy your mental limits, you awaken a force that has been waiting inside you all along, and when you rise to this new level, you inspire others to do the same. Each morning we wake to challenges, to invisible weights and doubts. The world does not hand out easy paths. There are failures that pierce pride, obstacles that look impossible, and voices, both your own and those around you, that whisper you cannot succeed. Most people quietly give in to this pressure. They work hard, but stop short of greatness because they have already surrendered in their thoughts. What separates those who rise from those who remain stuck is not luck, not talent, not circumstance, but mindset. Those who win are not necessarily faster or stronger. They simply think differently. They build their inner world with thoughts of victory, with images of themselves overcoming, with certainty that no wall is too high. To think like a champion is to take control of the throne of your mind. It is to believe that no setback is final and no obstacle is unbreakable. Consider a young woman preparing for her final year in school, always struggling with math. Every time she faces a problem, her mind says this is too hard for you. For years, she accepted this as truth. Then one day she chooses to think differently. She tells herself she will find a way. She studies in small steps, celebrates small victories, and refuses to quit when she stumbles. Slowly her confidence grows. By the time she sits for her final exam, she is no longer the timid student she once was. Even if the problems are difficult, Her mind is unshaken. Whether she scores the highest or not does not matter. She has already won by refusing to give away control of her mind. To think like a champion, you must first master yourself. When fear whispers, answer with courage. When doubt speaks, answer with determination. Build discipline like a ritual. Rise early, stay committed to your goals, train your mind and body daily. Refuse to be ruled by comfort. See every failure not as a dead end, but as a signal that you are being shaped for something greater. Each fall becomes a stepping stone toward mastery. Surround yourself with strength by studying the lives of those who have walked difficult roads before you, letting their courage light your own path. Reflect daily on why you do what you do, letting that purpose carry you through moments when motivation is low. Above all, never allow your mind to accept mediocrity as normal. Champions are created by the decision to expect more of themselves than the world expects, and the reward of such thinking is nothing less than transformation. You begin to walk differently.